Hey, welcome back everyone. Today I went to the range, took a couple of handguns with me, and this is the reason why you go to the range to test your equipment out and your handguns out. Stand by. So I picked up a Glock 19 Gen 3 compensated version. It is their factory ported one. And took it out and started putting some rounds through it. I brought 3 factory magazines with me. They weren't the 10 rounders, they were the standard capacity magazines. And I was running a mixture of 115s, 124s, full metal jackets, a couple of hollow points. I wanted to see how the gun performed and how it did. And I could tell you what, there is some positives and negatives to this handgun, but I did find out the limitations of Glock perfection. This is the first Glock that I've ever had absolutely have issues. I'm sure they're out there with other Glock style handguns or Glock handguns. I'm sure everyone has their stories, but this is the one that really got me, and I've purchased Glocks for forever. And I really have grown to rely on them because of their, obviously, their reliability, their non-innovation, and the keeping it very simple and keeping to the same formula. Now, with this ported version, it is a Glock 19 Gen 3. Standard Gen 3 with the finger grooves, no interchangeable back straps, all that stuff. The only thing they did was they add ports to it. So, how did it shoot? Well, it shot good. I have some targets that I'll roll in here. I'll show you the pictures of them. A lot of these targets were this shooting session was more of seeing where it's at, putting bullets downrange, and then a lot of those rounds were rapid fire. So double, triple tap, 2 to the head, whatever it is. I just kind of did my own thing. I was just testing the gun, and I'm glad I did. So first issue that I had 4 failures to feed. So empty chamber, magazines partially full or full, and the rounds were not feeding into the barrel, into the chamber. So I had a couple of stuck rounds, had to do a clearance drill, pull out the magazine, rack the slide, kick out the round. And one of them I just needed a rack, just tap and rack, and it went right in. Made sure there wasn't anything in there, there wasn't anything stuck in there, so that wasn't the reason. And then I actually had one actual failure to eject. So empty case, bullet went downrange, it just didn't kick back out. So I had thought, okay, maybe it's the mixture of ammo that I had. Maybe it was the magazines. Magazines, I don't know how old they are, but it was intermittent. It didn't happen all the time. Like I said, there was 5 failures and about, I'd say, 150 rounds. And I was shooting it pretty quick, but that shouldn't make a difference. So I just chalked it up as a break-in period for this handgun with the comps. I'm thinking the comp, or not the comp, the ports on this are throwing off the recoil impulse, the slide. Now, normally with a Glock 19, you're going to get a little bit of roll. This one was shooting so flat. So my targets at 5 and 7 yards really reflected that. I was right back on target. When it didn't malfunction, it was beautiful. It was perfect. Last magazine. Check this out. Let's see if we get that. Busted rear sight. Now that wasn't a Glock sight. I know Glock sights suck and everyone replaces them. So these are the all metal Trigicon 3-dot sights. Well, you can see right there, it's a dot and a half, or 2 dots. Front sight stayed on. The rear sight, and I'll roll in some pictures of this, the rear sight actually sheared and kicked off somewhere into the universe. I have no idea where it went. But my whole point of this this video is test your gear, test your handguns when you go out. This is the whole reason. This was sitting in my safe for a couple months. I hadn't had a chance to shoot it, and I wanted to go out and shoot it before I started putting it in a location in the house that I was going to use it for, a go-to gun. I'm going to hold off on that. I'm going to take different magazines, one brand of ammo, hollow point, and also with the full metal jackets. Try the different grains all over again. Put on a new rear sight and I'm going to clean this thing thoroughly. And that was the other thing. I cleaned this thing thoroughly before I went to the range. So it wasn't a lack of lubrication. It wasn't anything like that. So I'm just thinking that because it was ported and it just didn't feed properly because of that. Because I tell you what, I had a standard grip on this thing the way I normally grip all my 19s, and I didn't have any issues. I have a 17 that's also ported. Picked it up Gen 3, it works flawlessly, doesn't matter. So it could be just this one Glock 19. Now, Glock 19s off to the side. My other handgun that I took today, well, the other semi-automatic that I took today was this. It's a Walther PDPF. It is actually a Glock 19 style, size, whatever you want to call it, optic ready. I don't know, obviously have an optic on there right now. It takes Glock standard sights, and I took this one out too, and I hadn't shot it in a while. Well, one of the things I came across, and it wasn't as bad as the 19 over there, but one of the things I came across was that the trigger, and these are clear, the trigger was locking up. Now I had my finger on not only this to release the safety, but also on the trigger. So when I had shot, I think I loaded 4 or 5 rounds into the magazine, shot those 4 or 5 rounds, did a magazine reload, new magazine in, about 5 or 6 rounds in it maybe. And I went to go pull on the trigger initially for the first shot. The trigger wasn't going back. The trigger, I don't know, if it didn't go back into battery, or if on this safety, and let's see if we can see it here. You push that in just like a Glock, it releases the safety, allows you to pull the trigger. Well, what I'm thinking actually happened is I had staged the trigger with my, you know, you do your take up and staging. So when you're shooting, maybe I don't know. I'm thinking that small safety part didn't get it out of the way and it didn't allow it to fire. I actually had to kick out the round, and then it went into battery, and the round went back into battery, and the trigger had reset itself. So it was it's just an odd thing, and maybe it's a training issue that I need to work on with this. I don't shoot this too much, but at the same time, know your handguns, know your firearms. I had the same thing happen with the CZ with the factory trigger. So just be aware of that. Check your stuff out before you put it into rotation, and you just want to use it for defensive use. Make sure your gear works. With the 19, I just started laughing as soon as I lost my sight. So if it wasn't the failure to feeds and failure to eject, then it was the sight broke in half. You know, lucky this isn't my only handgun, and I'm going to be able to replace that sight sometime today. But just wanted to go over this, make sure your gear works, check it out, test your stuff, put rounds down range, and even if mine was an indoor range today, even if it's an indoor range, just get out there and do it. Make sure your stuff works. Thanks for watching. You have any comments, questions, like the video, please like it. I'd appreciate that. But I'll see you next time.